For the last decade, Rockstar Games have been producing games that have been the benchmark for the gaming industry. And just when you think they're all out of tricks, they produce a game like LA Noire. Will this game stand up to the hype? Stay tuned to find out. You follow the story of an ex-Marine named Cole Phelps, who after World War II decides to continue protecting his country by joining the LAPD. However, he gets thrown into a police station that has been heavily accused of corruption. The story is basically like a season of Law and Order. Each crime starts with an intro, either you'll see the crime happen or you'll be called to a crime scene. Some crimes are just one-off murderers and others see you trying to find a serial killer. Not only do you follow the story of your detective career, but you also get flashbacks of your time in the army. And for those of you who want to get deeper into LA Noire, there are also newspaper articles showing another story. Each of these storylines are very compelling and leave you wanting more, and I never found myself being bored or confused unless the game wanted me to be confused.
What were you doing to the body, Ferdinand? Are you sure you won't be upset? Try me, Ferdinand. I was kissing her. It's not against the law.
Shut up.
There's no law against it.
Beating like a man.
Turn out your pockets, Ferdinand.
If you are buying this game because you think it's like GTA or Red Dead Redemption, then you would be incorrect. There are some similar features of course, like the running and the gunfights, but the overall way you play this game is different. Instead of having the choice of what your next mission is going to be, you get thrown into the main story. It is an open world game to some extent, but instead of having heaps of things to do like in other Rockstar games, you only have a handful of side missions and rare cars to collect. There are some gameplay features of this game that some of you might not like. The first of which is not being able to draw your gun whenever you want. Some of you might want to take a break from the missions and want to go on a murdering rampage, but can't. The second thing that comes to mind is instead of pressing a button to jump a wall, all you have to do is run towards it. This does feel actually really good during a chase scene, but when you're just walking around, you can sometimes find yourself jumping over a thing by accident. Now, my job as a reviewer is to find both the flaws and the good things in the video game, and well, those two things that I just mentioned are basically the only flaws in this game. The pros of this game make a list that is bigger than my cock, which basically means that it's a huge list. I will firstly start by talking about the gameplay. At the start of each mission, you'll go to a crime scene. When getting there, you will either talk to the first police officer on the scene, or speak to a witness. After doing that, you will convey the area for clues. After collecting all the clues, the epic music will stop and then you will follow a lead. Once you find a suspect, you will then interrogate them. This is the most important part of the game. This is where you either make or break a case. Interrogating a suspect consists of basically doing 5 or 6 things. You first ask them a question from your notebook, and when they have finished answering, you must watch their facial expressions. You then have to make a judgment call on whether you think they're telling the truth, lying, or you doubt what they're saying. However, if you choose the wrong response, you could miss out on hearing a vital piece of evidence. If you are struggling with an interrogation, you can opt to ask the community to help determine how to proceed. This requires you to be signed on to Xbox Live or the PlayStation Network, and requires one intuition point, which you can get by leveling up. The way you level up is by choosing the correct responses in the interrogations, solving street crimes, or finding hidden objects and landmarks. The best way to get through this game is by trusting your instincts, and that is not a joke. The driving in this game does feel fake. The steering is way too sensitive, but it actually works in the game's favour. It makes the driving scenes a lot more fluid and fun to play, and if you do get bored of the driving, you can just get your partner to drive for you and skip the long drive to your next mission. The graphics in this game are amazing. The facial expressions are so lifelike that the game is based about reading facial expressions. And something that astounded me was the fact that the graphics continued to maintain their proness even during the gameplay, and not just during the cutscenes. Also, I'll give a quick shout out to all the voice actors because they did do an exceptional job. Pat yourself on the back.
Drunk.
How do we do that?
If you're after a game with constant action, then this game is not for you. This game is more for the patient gamer who doesn't mind taking their time to solve the case right. This doesn't mean that there isn't some great action scenes though. Every part of the gameplay makes you feel like a real detective, from driving to to looking for clues, everything is spot on. The story is immersive and you won't want it to end. There is maybe like 3 things wrong with this game, and they do not affect the gameplay at all. I have never been a huge fan of rating games highly, but every aspect of this game is amazing. This game has a real chance for Game of the Year. Hold me to my word, because I'm rating this game 9 out of 10.